everyone, Ment here. Welcome to our next lesson in the Rhodes Bud Boogie series. In this lesson, we'll be covering a Leon Rhodes inspired solo over the A and B sections. You just heard the example solo we'll be going over, so please download the PDF of the tab and standard notation to follow along. I'll be breaking down the solo phrase by phrase. We'll be working out of the key of G from our G chord E shape. The opening phrase will sound like this over the G to G7. We have are starting off on the B note, the third of G, coming up an arpeggio. We have B, D, F, sliding into our A. This arpeggio is a G7 add 9 arpeggio. We have the third, fifth, flat seventh, ninth. From there, we'll do the same thing up an octave, but adjust the A to an A flat, making it a G7 flat 9 arpeggio. So what we can learn from here is to take the triad of our chord, G, B, D, and play arpeggios off of each note. So we have the 1, 3, 5, the 3, 5, flat 7, and then on the fifth, we would have the 5, flat 7, and the added 9. So we have to color that G chord. And then my next phrase over the C to A7 is this. I'm visualizing my C chord A shape here, and then my A7 with the flat 9 here. So just taking that move we did on the G up a whole step. So I'm coming down from the A flat, G, F, E, D, chromatically connecting C to B flat, and then taking up an A7 arpeggio off of the third, adding the flat 9 to the top of it. So I'm trying to keep that flat 9 theme throughout. So one more time we have. I'm now going to come down my D7 chord, working out of the D7 A shape. So just taking what we did with the C, but up a whole step, and I have this phrase. So I'm starting on the A, the fifth of D, coming down the same way I did for the C, G, F sharp, E, chromatically connecting D to C, A, G, F sharp. Here's the third of the D7. Now I'm going to go up the arpeggio from the third. So F sharp, A, C. Instead of an E, I'm going to keep the flat 9 theme consistent and play an E flat, and then resolve D, C, B flat, B, and closing the B. So I have one more time for the D7. And then resolve on our G. The next phrase will be like this: a G triad to a D flat triad, a C triad, and then a C sharp diminished or a sharp 4 diminished run. This is referencing what Leon Rhodes does in the melody during this part. So we have. I'm just taking this idea of the G triad, then I'm moving up to the tritone or the flatted fifth. So the fifth of G is D. When we flat that, we have a D flat. So I'm going to play that triad over the top of the G chord. This is a theme that we'll continue to revisit throughout the rest of the solo. So we have B, D, G over the G chord, then D flat, F, A flat. Then we drop that down a half step, C, E, G. Another way to think about this is in terms of the Junior Bernard licks we've learned in the past. Think about the chord you're going to and move a chord a half step above it. So we're going to C. We're going to move a half step above C, D flat, to resolve down into the C. That's a way to approach this without getting into the theory of flat fifths and tritone substitutions. And then once we come up the C, I'm going to come down now a diminished arpeggio. B flat, G, E, C sharp, and then chromatically down to B flat, and then resolve to the G right here, and that's resolving to the third of the G, the B note. So I have this move where I'm playing the triad, diminished. So now we're going through the A section. A second now, we'll move to the B section. So we're starting right on beat 1 of the B section. This is a B7 chord, the 3 of the key of G. So we have the B7. The phrase will sound like this. We'll go 1 for my B. So I have a downbeat on the B note itself, and then I'm coming up to the third of B. That's the D sharp, and playing an arpeggio off of it. So it's a flat 7th arpeggio, and then up to the 9th. So D sharp, F sharp, A, C sharp. And now I'm going to grab the flatted 5th of B, which is the F. F sharp is the 5th, F is the flatted 5th, and come down its triad. So I'm going to start now on the C and play C, A, F, E flat to get the flat 7th of F. So I'm now mixing and matching that 1 and flat 5th sound, the tritone sound. So I have, okay? Now I'm going to do the same type of harmony for the E chord. B7 resolves to E for the next 2 bars, so my phrase will sound like this. So I have my E triad here, so I'm going to move in from a half step above. F, E, G sharp, B. What's the flat 5th of E? It's B flat. B is the 5th. So then we have B flat as the flat 5th. B flat, D, F. Move down to E, and I'm going to come down now a little arpeggio of just going D, B, G sharp, F, D, which you should recognize as a flat 9, and then moving down the diminished arpeggio. So we have this. We have the E, highlighting that F for the flat 9. Now we'll go to the A7. So think about what is the flat 5th of A. The natural 5th is E, so we'll play the E flat. This phrase will sound like this. So I'm playing up the arpeggio of A from the 3rd, C sharp, E, G, B, B flat, A, and then here's my E flat chord. I'm going to come up to the C, C, B flat, G, E flat. All right. And then I resolve down a half step to my D, leading back into the A section. My D phrase will sound like this, utilizing the A flat as the flat 5th. We'll go. Okay, so I'm coming up the D triad, up the A flat triad, A flat C, E flat, up the D triad, D, F sharp, A, up the A flat triad, A flat C, E flat, and then I'm going to come down a diminished arpeggio. So I have C, A, F sharp, and then E flat, resolve on the D, and here's my G chord. So again, that phrase. So all together, the B section, highlighting the 1 to the flatted 5th, will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're back to the A section for one final time to the changes. So I recommend really try and drill in the flat 9 sound into your ears and how you can identify that within the chord shapes that we're working out of, as well as the 1 to flat 5 or tritone relationship. That's a great way of sounding out. And I'd recommend, before you get into the theory of it, think more of it as a half step of move above the chord you're going to. So again, to use that example we covered in this solo, if you're going to a C chord from G, think about the D flat above the C and then move down into it. And that eliminates all of the overthinking. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Please stay tuned for our next lessons this month, where we'll begin to cover some Jimmy Rivers. Thank you.